Yo, yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to a brand new week and welcome to a brand new edition of what we like to call the Clash of Champions. I am your host, the vegan you believe in conscious Kurt, aka the professor, aka one sexy motherfucker in the flesh as always. And my co host needs no introduction, but fuck it. He's gonna give y'all one anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is his tag team partner, Jonathan Randall, at your guys' service. The adventurer himself, the life of the party. Kurt, how you been?
Doing well, man. Really enjoying this daylight savings that we just had this past weekend. So now it's getting darker later.
I know I like that though, but it kind of messed me over a little bit. Quite sure for everybody else.
Yeah, and also I've really enjoyed this weather too. This weather the last day or so has been beautiful out here in Atlanta.
Is it warming up?
Yeah, warming up and it's getting darker later, like I mentioned a second ago. So yeah, it's beautiful out here right now. I love springtime.
Same here. And speaking of warming up, and hey, we're literally in the just in the presence of springtime. Speaking of warming things up, WrestleMania is warming up.
Yes, it is warming up big time, and it started from this past Friday on SmackDown as Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes showed up to SmackDown to confront Roman Reigns and The Rock to announce whether or not they would be accepting the challenge for WrestleMania for the tag match. And lo and behold, to no surprise, they accepted the challenge. But I have to give props to Seth Rollins for coming back hard against The Rock in that promo where he got in The Rock's face and he called him Mr. Midlife Crisis. And then he basically said, your era's past.
You can't have ours.
Yeah, it was a good line. So yeah, props to Rollins
Yeah.
for stepping up after that, diarrhea Dwayne line from Monday. That was definitely much better what I saw on SmackDown. And then The Rock goes on to talk shit about Cody and talks about the reason why his parents had him so late after his other siblings was because he was a mistake. Even though him and his sister are only 3 years apart, but that's another story. And this is like literally happening as the show is going off the air. So like right when the show's about to go off the air, Cody Rhodes slaps The Rock. And then The Rock has a big smile on his face as the show ends.
What did a 5-finger set to the face? Ooh, that's karma right there, man. The fact I did not expect that to see Cody Rhodes to slap The Rock.
He needed to.
That is karma.
He needed to after that line. He had to do something.
He needed to stand up. Yeah. You needed to stand up to him, especially, you get slapped at the press conference, right? Then he's talking about your dog and, dissing your family and all that stuff. You need to, come on, put your foot down a little bit, man. And he did, and I'm happy for him. So, yes, it is official that for night one for WrestleMania, there will be a tag match. Probably, I could honestly say the biggest tag match in the history of WrestleMania. We have The Rock, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, man. Wow. And it's the stakes that makes it bigger. Because we said this before last week, if The Rock and Roman Reigns wins, Bloodline is involved, anything goes. But if Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes wins, then the Bloodline is barred from ringside.
And not only that, The Rock also said during the promo on SmackDown that if Cody Rhodes does not beat Roman for the title at WrestleMania, he does not get another title shot again.
Ever. Yeah, man.
Which basically gives away the result, but it is what it is.
True. But what happens with the night one result, we're still kind of like, I don't know what's going to happen, man. We don't know what's going to happen.
You don't know what's going to happen. Come on now. We talked about this last week.
Doesn't matter. Everybody's making different speculations. Oh, Seth is going to turn on Cody or The Rock does. We don't know. There's unpredictability about it, Kurt.
I'll say this much. Whether Seth turns on Cody or not, I can't say for sure. But I can say for sure that Rock and Roman win that match. That I definitely stand on.
Okay.
But regardless of how predictable you think it is or how I think it is, I am really, really looking forward to this match. I wasn't sure how to feel about it at first, like when I first heard they were going to do it. But now that I've seen how they built it on TV the last few weeks, fuck it, bro. I really want to see this shit. Holy shit.
That's what I'm saying. And it's just the company has just gotten so much attention. We really have forgotten about the whole Vince McMahon thing a little bit in a good way.
Motherfuck Vince McMahon. Who cares? Let's move on from that motherfucker.
That's what I'm saying. We've been moving on, Kurt. That's what I've been saying. We've been moving on. We haven't been talking about it. This storyline has gotten us off of that off our mindset in a good way. So, with that being said, and I said this like a couple weeks ago. I've never said to myself like or imagined that they're going to do a tag match, or never had that thought that come to my mind, because we at first were hooked on CM Punk and all that, and he got hurt, and they had a rendezvous to this storyline, so I'm okay with it.
And it's also a tie-in to the first WrestleMania, because the main event of WrestleMania 1 was a tag team match.
True.
And now that it's the 40th WrestleMania, they kind of want to pay homage to that. And we'll get into more of the homage to WrestleMania 1 later, and when we speak of the new Hall of Famer inductees. But yes, I'm really amped for this tag match. And we still have about a month to go until Mania. Yeah, there's still like, 3.5 weeks left of TV left before then? Shit, man.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing since SmackDown's going to be in Memphis on Friday, The Rock's going to do a rock concert.
Oh, unbelievable. Are you serious?
Yeah, that's the rumor going around.
Amazing.
That's the rumor going around. He's going to do a rock concert.
Yes, amazing. Absolutely amazing. You know what? This will be the second straight year that we'll have a main event in night one of WrestleMania. You go back to last year between the Usos and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Yeah, being a tag team match. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but the only complaint I had as far as the segment on Friday was that it went on so late in the show that they ran out of time, and it kind of felt like really rushed.
Well, yeah, that's why I noticed, because you literally saw when right before Cody slaps The Rock, you could see that SmackDown was about to go off the air. So now that you're saying that, it makes sense now.
Yeah, because Fox has a hard cutoff at like 9:58 because they have to go to the local news.
Oh, okay.
It's not like Raw where they can get an extra 5 minutes, extra 10 minutes, or whatever it is. Yeah, for Fox, they have to have a hard cutoff. Yeah, so it is official. We have Rock and Roman versus Cody and Seth for night one of WrestleMania. This is going to be popping, bro. If we can't get Seth and CM Punk for WrestleMania, I'm glad we're getting this.
They had to make the rendezvous. And like I said, I'm okay with it. I was very disappointed. Look, I still believe CM Punk is going to be a part of WrestleMania. He is.
He's going to be at the Go Home Raw for WrestleMania on the 1st of April in Chicago. Yeah. He's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's going to factor into WrestleMania somehow. He's probably going to be like a guest commentator. He could be a guest referee, but I don't know how well he'll be to be a guest referee considering the surgery that he just had.
True. I don't know about that, man. I still holding on to the fact that he will get involved and cost Drew the match, but that's the physical part. As far as doing more than that, being a referee, I mean, that's a lot. So I don't know. Maybe as a guest commentator, I could see that.
Yeah, anything. It could go down anyway. But speaking of CM Punk and also Rollins and Drew McIntyre, let's get into what happened last night on Raw, as the show opened with Drew McIntyre talking about how Seth Rollins is selfish for being a part of the tag match at WrestleMania with the Bloodline, and talking about how their match deserves all the attention. And then as he's cutting his promo, the crowd kept chanting "what?" And then as they're chanting "what," he says, "Chant what if you're happy I injured CM Punk." And then
I told you, man, it's gonna backfire on his ass. Watch.
And then Seth Rollins comes out and basically calls out the fact that Drew gave him the Claymore the week before, and he said, "Do it to me again, do it to me again." And then he's saying, "Oh, wait a minute, I forgot, you're a coward, so I'll turn around so you can jump me from behind." And then Drew starts to mimic Rollins from a few months ago, how Rollins was telling him to get over the bloodline. He was like mimicking his laugh, saying, "Get over it, Drew. Move on, Drew. Stop crying about it, Drew." He was like mimicking the laugh. It was mad funny. And he's talking about how he was right. He talked about how Seth was right and how he chose to get over the bloodline stuff and do his own thing, and how he's in the title match at WrestleMania. And he's saying how like Seth needs to follow his own advice and do the same thing. And then Rollins counters saying how the way Drew's talking now reminds him of a certain somebody, and that certain somebody happens to be CM Punk, where he refers to Drew as being the biggest hypocrite he's ever seen, and how he thought Punk was a hypocrite, but now that he's come across Drew, it's not even close. And then he goes on to accuse like Drew of like being in cahoots with the bloodline and trying to get in good with the bloodline. And then he talks about how he's going to lay him out at WrestleMania. And as you're disappointed and you're defeated, the one thing you're going to hear and the one thing you're going to remember for the rest of your life is the sound of the people singing my song. And then the people sing the song. And then Drew talks about how like he's not going to let Rollins provoke him. He's going to beat him at WrestleMania, make it count. And then he walks away. And then Rollins says, the reason why I haven't really been focusing on this match that much is because compared to Roman, The Rock, my injured back and my injured knee, at the bottom of the list of my priorities is you. Ooh. Ooh. And that set off Drew big time. And he went back to the ring to try to confront Rollins again. But he decided against it and walked away.
Keep his cool. I'll save my energy for WrestleMania is pretty much what he's saying. We'll see. We'll see. So many weeks ahead. But I like this promo, though. And it really, because, they needed to go that route because, look, for the past, couple of weeks or so, they've been so focused on, the Rock, Roman, and Seth and Cody. So they really didn't have time to, like, shift their gears onto, Seth and Drew. Because we're like, guys, let's not forget, Drew won the Elimination Chamber, earned his right to have that main event, have a title shot night 2 of WrestleMania. So they needed to shift into that direction. I'm glad they did.
Yeah, it's been great. Yeah, that segment was dope. I'm liking where they're going with this story, and I'm looking forward to possibly Drew having his coronation on night 2 of WrestleMania, but we will cross that bridge when we get to it. And then as the show went on, we had a match between Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan, in which Becky Lynch won with the man slam. And then afterwards, Rhea Ripley came out, who got a nice reaction, very nice reaction. And then she went on to accuse Becky of, taking on a lot more than she should be handling right now. And the reason why she is doing that is because she knows that she can't beat Rhea Ripley, and she knows that Rhea Ripley is better than her. So then Becky talks about how when people believe in me, I'm good. But when people doubt me, I'm great. And then she says, if it's me against the world doesn't stand a chance. And then she dropped the mic, walked out. And I like how they're kind of implementing this in the story where like Becky's like, taking on all these hard matches. And she's like really like wearing herself out going into WrestleMania. And then actually after this backstage, Becky was attacked by Nia Jax and slammed through a table. And it was announced afterwards that Becky and Nia will face each other in a last woman standing match this coming Monday on Raw.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah, I'm liking where they're going with the story, and it's kind of hard to say how much fan support Becky's going to have going into Mania, because I feel like with the crowd reactions going the way they have been lately, I kind of have a feeling that Rhea is going to be the one who the people are really behind at Mania more than Becky. Becky might even get some boost possibly.
I still think it's going to be 50-50. It's going to be one of those matches where you have half the crowd cheering for one and you have the other half cheering for the other. We've seen this before. I don't think it's going to be a Trish Stratus and Mickie James like WrestleMania 22, where you literally had like 90% of the crowd cheering for Mickie James.
You really don't think? Wait a minute, you really don't think that could happen? You really? Sure?
I'm saying no. Listen,
sure?
Maybe. I'm just saying maybe, but let's just not jump ahead of ourselves. It could happen. I'll laugh if it happened. I'm being straight up with you. All right, I'm gonna laugh so hard if that does happen, but. Yeah, is it a good possibility? Yeah. But you got to remember, it's not like Becky's always been a fan favorite for the longest time. That's why I'm saying it should be like 50-50 more, but we don't know. We can't really predict what the crowd is going to do. Like, we didn't know at WrestleMania 18, we didn't know that majority of the crowd was going to cheer over Hogan over Rock, which surprised me. And I was only 10 years old at the time.
But
so
it's just the thing is, Rhea has a lot of momentum right now. I know she's still quote unquote a heel, but yeah, she's really getting the people behind her like more than ever. This is the hottest she's ever been.
Mm-hmm. And you got to remember, here's the funny thing about it. She didn't really defend the title that much last year, and she has so much momentum.
This is her biggest title defense, and this is the one title defense she's going to have in this whole year she's been champion where there is a chance she could lose. This is the very first match she's had since she won the title at Mania last year from Charlotte where there is a possibility that she could lose to Becky. And speaking of Judgment Day, it was also announced on Raw that Finn Balor and Damian Priest will be defending the tag titles at WrestleMania in a 6-pack ladder match. The fuck?
6-pack ladder match?
So there's going to be 6 teams, which means there's going to be 12 guys total in a ladder match. Yo, that's too much.
Lord. That's, yeah.
4 teams, okay. 4 teams, that's fine. But 6 teams? Yeah, that's a lot.
Jeez.
That's a lot.
Not even in a regular tag match, we didn't see that many, man. Ladder match or not, that's a lot.
Yeah, I know this is probably a way to get everybody on the show, but fuck, bro.
No, dude, that's just. Oh my God, that's making it way too obvious for Judgment Day to win that match. Wow.
Well, I don't know about all that.
Ooh, 6? Oh.
Yeah, so they're having qualifying matches in the coming weeks on Raw and SmackDown to decide who's going to be in it. Also NXT, but I think more than likely it's going to be R-Truth and Miz in it. Also DIY, New Day, Imperium, and probably the Street Profits. Those are the teams I picked to be in it.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had that. Also, we had a sit-down interview on Raw with Michael Cole and Cody Rhodes. And I like right when the interview started, Michael Cole asked Cody what he wanted to talk about.
Yeah, the that promo, that sit-down interview that they had in the ring was got emotional for Cody.
Yeah, he was talking about how he smashed the throne back in the day, and the person whose throne he smashed back then is like now his like biggest ally backstage, referring to Triple H. And then as the speech goes on, he gets really emotional. He's like talking about like, you know, his dad and how like his mom is like the only mom he has left. And he's talking about how he can't give the WWE title to Dusty, but he can hand it to his mother, Michelle Rubio. And yeah, he was like really breaking down during this part. And he also talks about how he can also hand it to his wife, the most beautiful woman in the world. And also how like she took a chance on him when he was wearing a mask and getting RKO'd every night. And talking about how like the story now is beyond him. It's for everybody, but it is up to him. And then he goes on to look at the camera and tell Roman Reigns how like last year at WrestleMania, we were only in the 3rd inning. And then he goes on to say that now you know for a fact that we are in the last inning.
I love that.
And yeah, it was a good line. And he says, Michael Cole, when that match is over, you're going to announce a Rhodes for the first time ever as the new WWE Undisputed Champion. And also you're going to announce that Cody Rhodes finally finished his story. Ooh.
Love that ending. Absolutely love that ending. Love that killer quote that he said that we are now in the last inning. I love that. That got me amped up. Loved it.
Yeah, bro. He's hotter than ever. There is no way he can go to WrestleMania and lose. It's not going to happen.
No.
Yeah, it's
some
time.
People are actually, some of my friends are actually saying, "Oh, he's still gonna lose." Bullshit.
It's time, bro. It's time.
You need. I know. As you quote, read between the lines. You literally have to read between the lines with this one, man. There is no way in hell you're gonna have Cody Rhodes go through all of that nonsense through last year, go through all those hurdles, have him win the Royal Rumble again, go through this nonsense with the bloodline and all that to have him lose again, just so Roman could surpass Hogan's title record. No.
This has gone on long enough. They had Roman win last year, and now looking back at it, I get why it's built to this point. That's cool, but they need to pay it off. It's time.
Thank you.
No more stalling, no more dragging out the title reign, no more dragging out this story. It is time for it to reach its conclusion.
Thank you. Like, it's just a damn shame I didn't get to, witness and see that moment last year when I was at WrestleMania, though. But hey, it is what it is. We're going to see it this year.
Yes, fingers crossed. And also moving on throughout the show, we also had other segments go down, including a weird segment during a tag match in which Candice LeRae in the middle of the match went off on Maxine Dupree talking about how she sucks in the ring and how she's horrible and how it's a good thing her brother's not alive to see how bad she is. Yeah, it was just a whole weird thing. And then it led to her and Ivy now losing to Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. And so now they're making Candice LeRae like a very heartless and cold villain, it's looking like, which I don't mind because she was a villain in NXT with the whole Way stable they had with Gargano and Austin Theory and also Indy Hartwell. But yeah, this is just a weird thing to do and a weird way they did it also. And like the middle of the match,
Mm-hmm.
and like making it personal, talking about her brother, because actually, Maxine Dupri's brother actually died in a car accident a few years ago.
Wow. That was a little too personal right there.
So it's looking like they're playing off of that like negative reaction she got at that house show a few weeks ago that people were all talking about. So like now they're turning it into a storyline, it seems. Yeah, so that happened. Also, Jey Uso came out to a very nice reaction. The crowd was going crazy for him, and he was even seen hanging out
With Travis Scott.
Yeah, he was seen hanging out with Travis Scott earlier in the day.
Yeah, Houston native because they were in Houston, Texas.
Yes, another sellout.
Yeah. I love that segment. We finally have now come to blows that, yeah, it is official. Blood versus blood, Uso versus Uso, brother versus brother. He pretty much called it out. Jey versus Jimmy at WrestleMania. And I just love what Jey said at the end of that segment, how at WrestleMania, I'm going to beat the yeet out of your ass. Boy. Oh.
Yeah, we kind of saw this coming. Obviously, ever since Jimmy cost Jey the title back at SummerSlam, we pretty much saw this coming, and then they had them separated all these months. So now that it's closer to WrestleMania, yeah, it's time to really shake things up. And yeah, it's been a good feud the last few weeks, especially when Jimmy cost Jey the Intercontinental title against Gunther. And then he cost him a match last week. And yeah, now Jey's laid on the challenge for Jimmy. Jimmy's more than likely going to accept, goes without saying. So yeah, it's on. The Usos at WrestleMania. Only the third time in WrestleMania history we are getting a brother versus brother match.
And you know what's the crazy thing about that? There are always 15 years in between.
Yes.
Yeah, so like 94, you had Brett versus Owen. We'll go out saying that was, my God, match was absolutely classic, golden. And then 15 years later, you know, you had Jeff versus Matt Hardy. And now 15 years later, can't believe it's been 15 years. Damn. 15 years later, now we have Jimmy versus Jey Uso. So it was the segment itself that made me like, oh my God, I'm really looking forward to this match even more now.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. It's going to be interesting to see them have a match against each other because they've been a team for so many years, been attached to the hip for so many years, and now they're actually going to wrestle each other at WrestleMania of all shows.
Crazy. And, you know, it's funny, like just last year, they were a tag team. They were in a tag team title match in the main event. Yeah, I know. A year ago.
Yeah, but I'm hoping that they kind of do what I thought they were going to do at SummerSlam, where they have the whole family at ringside and they get involved.
You know what? I would love to see that. If they do that. If they're able to pull that off, I'll love that. Yeah.
Like Rikishi, maybe their mother, Naomi could be there, Jay's wife could be there, the kids. Yeah, it would be really cool if they could do some shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
Haku could maybe be there also.
Just the whole family.
Yeah, it'd be crazy, son. The Rock's mom.
Yeah, but I think having Rikishi there, that would be like the biggest, you know, one of them all. Because I remember that's their dad. So, you know, if we see him, that would be like, oh my God, like, it's real.
He'll probably be like, damn, why didn't my match with The Rock at WrestleMania 13 get this kind of attention?
What the as the Sultan. Stop it.
My God, that was so terrible. Bro, the head shrinkers were fine. But then they made him make a different spot to him, which was funny in its own way. Then they make him the fucking Sultan. The fucking Sultan. Really?
How long did I even last? That didn't even last that long, did it?
It lasted like a year, and then he finally popped off as the Rikishi character with Too Cool. Yeah, they finally popped off with that.
Right. Oh my goodness.
All right, but anyway, yes, we are finally getting Jimmy versus Jey. And I have to say, Jey has really done well ever since he's gone solo. He's really...
Oh, hell yes. Are you kidding me? Oh my God, the crowd reaction that he'd be getting? Dude, from the start, from the jump, the crowd just ate it up because he has that it factor, man. And he almost won an Intercontinental title. And then because of Jimmy costing that match, I was low-key upset about that. That kind of like, whoa, what the hell is this?
Jimmy's cost his brother the WWE title, the tag team titles back in October, and also the Intercontinental title recently. Fuck. Cost him all the major
Yeah,
belts.
dude. I know.
Yeah, and it's so funny. I was hearing like years ago that people were saying that if anybody were to be the breakout star of the team, if they were ever to break up, it would be Jimmy because of, like on Total Divas, like you like really saw his personality, you saw how funny he
You
was and
said
all that
Jimmy?
jazz. Yeah, a lot of people thought Jimmy was going to be the breakout star of the Usos, like if they were ever to split up a few years ago. But lo and behold, look at it now. Jay's really the one who's blown up ever since they split up.
So here's the thing, though. This is what I don't know if you're seeing this, but this is what I'm seeing. Jimmy is like, yeah, he's singles, but you got to remember, he's still like under the bloodline. He doesn't really have his own spotlight. Jey does. Jey is legit like on his own under nobody. So that's a test for him to like, okay, this how well I'm going to do with it. And he's doing very well. Jimmy's really not necessarily like on his own. He's still with the bloodline. He's like under, not necessarily has like the whole entire spotlight on him, if you get my meaning.
Yeah, but he's a good heel, though. I'll say that much. He's a real good scumbag, low life heel. Like where like in a way you don't respect him, also in that sense. But yeah, he's really good at his role, though. I'll say that much. I feel like Jay
Yeah.
probably shined more since they went solo, but Jimmy has been playing his part well, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this story goes in the next few weeks.
Yeah, man.
All right, so we have Jimmy and Jay for WrestleMania. It's going to be popping. It's going to be interesting. And also in the main event of Raw, we had the six-man gauntlet match to decide who would face Gunther for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania. And it started off with Ricochet and JD McDonough, who had a good match for the few minutes it did last, but ultimately Ricochet won. And then Bronson Reed came out next and then defeated Ricochet with the tsunami splash. I have to say, it's not the same without Wade Barrett announcing it. It's not the same.
Oh.
And then Sami Zayn comes out next, who actually Michael Cole announced during commentary that Sami Zayn was fasting the whole day because of the Muslim holiday. It was the first day of a Muslim holiday yesterday, so like he had to fast. Eventually he beat Bronson Reed with a roll-up, which was dope. And then Bronson Reed attacked him afterwards as Nakamura was coming out next and hit him with the tsunami splash. And then Nakamura and Sami Zayn fought for a few minutes. It almost looked like Sami was going to beat him right away, which would have looked really bad. But Nakamura kicked out. They had an exchange for a few minutes before Sami ultimately won. And then it all came down to Sami Zayn and Chad Gable.
And look, like when you're watching that match, it looked like it could go in either way, but you just felt that, okay, Chad Gable needed this. So many attempts, especially when you had the ankle lock on him, and so many counters, and you just really in your heart like, dude, Chad's gonna pull this off. Like he needs to do this.
Yeah, he had the ankle lock on him multiple times. And there was one point, even when Sami Zayn hit him with the Haluva kick, and it looked like Sami Zayn was going to beat him, but as Sami Zayn was pinning him, Chad Gable reversed it into a roll-up, but then Sami Zayn like just kicked out at the last second. I really thought he had him there. That's the point where I was like, yo, he's going to do it, he's going to do it. And then he fucking kicked out. Damn it.
Damn.
But then ultimately he put Sami in the ankle lock again, but then Sami reversed it into a pin, got the 3 count, and Sami Zayn will now face Gunther for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania.
Look, I've always been a Sami Zayn fan, but man, I feel really bad for Chad Gable because of the story that they were doing, how he wanted to win that title, dedicated that win to his daughter, and he just couldn't get it done. And it disappoints me. I really wanted to see him, grab that spotlight, and him being, as a singles competitor, somewhat similar to Jey Uso. Chad Gable has really, shown himself as a singles competitor and handled it very well. So yeah, I'm very disappointed, and it bothers me, man, that he's not going to be in the match with Gunther at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I'm also bummed out that Chad Gable didn't win. I was really pulling for him. I've been pulling for him for months. But I'm not mad that Sami Zayn is going to go against Gunther at WrestleMania. It's still a great match. It's still appealing. But yeah, I am bummed out that Chad Gable didn't win, especially with that story that they could have still told. And also considering the fact that Chad Gable in a way could use it more because he's never had like a singles match at WrestleMania or a marquee match at WrestleMania at that. So yeah, I feel like it would have really benefited him. It was an interesting story they could have told with the whole daughter situation and all that, but they decided to go with Sami Zayn instead, which is not a bad choice. But yeah, I do feel for Chad Gable. A lot of people do. Yeah, it's getting a lot of attention right now.
I know. I don't know. I'm just curious. I mean, do you think the reason why I want to ask you this, because if you pay attention closely at the end of the match, yeah, of course, I mean, Chad was disappointed, didn't take the loss very well because, Sami Zayn tried to hug Chad Gable, after the match, but really wasn't, feeling it too much. When you see that, and with so many weeks, leading up towards WrestleMania, do you think that maybe they could turn into a triple threat match where it's Gunther, Sami Zayn, and Chad Gable?
I mean, that wouldn't be bad, but the thing is, they had Gunther in a triple threat match at WrestleMania last year. I don't like the idea of them doing like another triple threat match with him again this year.
So you think it would feel like more special if it's one-on-one, maybe?
Yeah, in a way, but whatever. If anything, maybe Chad Gable can get the title shot at Backlash in Paris. Maybe he can win it there.
Okay.
Because with Sami Zayn going against Gunther at WrestleMania, I have a feeling that Gunther will probably retain. And that's the thing. Sami Zayn has already been Intercontinental Champion 3 times. He main evented WrestleMania last year. So that's why I felt that, Chad Gable could have used it more because he's never had any of that.
Okay.
I'm not mad at Sami Zayn being in the match, like I said, but it just kind of just bums you out that Chad Gable didn't get it.
It does. It really does.
But let's get into some other topics as a few more inductees for the WWE Hall of Fame were announced over the last week. And some of those inductees this year include Bull Nakano, very well deserved. Mm-hmm. Also, the U.S. Express of Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham, in which Triple H actually called them and FaceTimed them and give them the news himself. I like that a lot. That shit was really dope.
Yeah. They're very deserved. It's just crazy how Mike Rotunda is the father of the late great Barry Wyatt. Yeah, to see him and to get inducted, man, you're just like, man, if only if Bray was still around to see that. But congratulations to both of them.
And also tying into the first WrestleMania, they were the ones who went into that first WrestleMania as the tag team champions.
Wow. And speaking of that first WrestleMania, the most recent inductee that they announced for this year's Hall of Fame class is Muhammad Ali.
Yes, this year's celebrity inductee, definitely well-deserved. I know we all remember him as the outside enforcer for the main event of the first WrestleMania, where he threw a shot at Roddy Piper and also threw a shot at Cowboy Bob Orton.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was wilding out. And yeah, they had him celebrate with Hogan, Mr. T, and Superfly at the end. Yeah, it was really good shit. That was right around the time his Parkinson's was starting to show, though. That was the early stages of it. Yeah, he had just been diagnosed with Parkinson's the year before in '84. And actually, that's why they had him as the enforcer as opposed to the actual referee, because his early Parkinson's was starting to show. So just to be safe, they had him do it outside.
Okay.
Well deserved. We can't even say enough of Muhammad Ali's accolades. The dude is a legend, and not just in boxing, but just pop culture and society, period. Definitely a stand-up man when he was alive. Obviously, if you know about him refusing to go to Vietnam and his reasons why, and not to mention he was an incredible boxer, had an incredible career, and a legend, icon in every single way. So Bull Nakano, U.S. Express, Muhammad Ali, and also Paul Heyman are this year's inductees so far. But some of the other rumored inductees I'm hearing are going to go in this year are Haku.
Ooh.
Also, The Rock's grandmother is another one I've been hearing. And Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt is also the rumored headliner to go in this year.
Okay. About Bull Nakano, I'm happy for her because when I look back at her, she was wrestling. Remember, this was 94, 95, right? That was kind of that first generation of when you had women involved in the WWE. They had the women's championship at the time. It really wasn't at that level yet, though. But you do remember those first generation of women talent like her.
Wait a minute. You're forgetting about the girls in the 80s. You're forgetting about the girls in the 80s.
Oh, the 82. Yeah,
Wendy
true.
Richter,
I know. Like,
Sherry.
yeah, yeah. But like, we didn't really see much of that. Like, I don't know, like early 90s.
No, they discontinued the women's title like in '89, and then they brought it back like in like '94 when Alundra
Yeah.
Blaze came in. That was my yeah. When I first started watching wrestling, they were my first introductions to women's wrestling. Was Bull Nakano and Alundra Blaze that
Yeah.
feud because they wrestled for the title at SummerSlam in '94, which is
94.
actually a solid match. It's the third best match in that show.
But yeah, when I look back at that, I was like, you know what? She just that's well deserved. I'm happy for her.
But I will say, just like the men, like with Brett and Sean, what they were doing at the time, Alundra Blaze and Bull Nakano were doing that for the women at the time, where like they were showing
Yeah.
that the women could really wrestle
Yeah.
and really have competitive, good matches.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were doing that shit at the time. It's just a shame that they didn't get enough attention.
That's what I'm saying. That was like the down part about it. That's why I felt bad. It really wasn't the same attention, but they were holding up their own. And so when I see her getting inducted, I'm happy for her, man. She deserves that.
And she had a long career even before she came to WWE. She was wrestling from the time she was 15 years old in Japan.
Wow.
Yeah, but WWE, by the time she got there, she had already been wrestling for years.
Wow.
Yeah, she had a very unique look. That hair, that makeup,
Yeah, the makeup
which Beth
too.
Phoenix actually painted her face like that as well as a tribute. Yeah, she really stood out, bro. She scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
Was it the hair? Or was it the makeup, or both?
It was the look and also the way she wrestled, like the way she would throw Alundra Blaze around, like she would like grab her by the hair and just swing her around. She would tie up Alundra Blaze's legs and then pick her up by her arms and pull her back. Yo, that shit was gruesome, son. I could not believe what the fuck I was seeing.
Wow.
Yeah, that was one of the craziest submission moves I've ever seen. I'm not lying. Yeah, but props to her. She actually talked about, the fact that she's getting inducted in an interview recently, and she's very honored by it.
She deserves that, and I'm happy for her.
Also, the U.S. Express, yeah, like I mentioned, they went into the first WrestleMania as the tag team champions, and actually, Real American for Hogan was originally going to be used for them.
Really?
Yes, yes. But then Barry Windham left the company after they lost the tag titles to Beefcake and Valentine. Since Mike Rotunda was on his own, there was no tag team anymore. They ended up giving it to Hogan instead.
Mm.
Barry Windham came back into the company a few times besides that. I remember he came in like in 89 as the Widowmaker. That didn't last very long. Also, he came in like in 96, 97 as like the Stalker for a little while.
That was weird.
And then he switched him up as like being the new Blackjacks with Bradshaw. He was doing that for a while. But always heard he was a great technician. Always heard that he was like a very solid wrestler. And also he's a part of one of the best incarnations of the Four Horsemen. That being with him, Arn Anderson, Flair, and Tully Blanchard, the 1988 version of the Horsemen. A lot of people say that's the best version of them, period.
Okay.
So now Barry Windham's going into the Hall of Fame for the second time because he actually went into the Hall of Fame as a part of the Horsemen in 2012.
Nice. Well, congratulations to both of them, though. It's well deserved.
Yeah, and Mike Rotunda obviously went on later on to be a part of the Varsity Club in WCW, like in the late 80s, early 90s. And then he came back to WWE in 91 as the IRS character. And then he had a great successful tag team with Ted DiBiase where they were the tag team champions 3 times called Money Incorporated.
Yeah, love that.
They were the perfect characters to put together for a team.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't really a good time for the tag team division in WWE, but they were a solid team for that period of time. Them, the Steiner brothers, also the natural disasters, which we'll talk about in a few minutes with the earthquake, Dark Side of the Ring. Yeah, they were a solid team. And then obviously he went back to WCW as VK Wall Street, then a part of the NWO, all that jazz. But yeah, legendary career, very legendary career. Also a legit tough guy from what I understand. So yes, congratulations to all these men and women who will be going in this year, and I look forward to seeing what other people are announced in the coming weeks. But in not so positive news, it came out yesterday through TMZ that CJ Perry, better known to us wrestling fans as Lana, and Miro will now be separating after 7 years of marriage.
Yeah, I heard about that. That is disappointing, man. They did say that they'll still remain friends and maybe look to continue working with each other on screen. But yes, it is official. They are separated, and man, I feel bad for them. Breakups, divorces, separation, it happens, man. But at least it wasn't, to the point where they're you know, it's ugly, and then they're not talking with each other, period. They did say they'll remain friends, and that's very rare when you see stuff like that. Usually in a breakup, they're like, no, we're done. Like, there's that complete cutoff. But with them, it's very rare to see that. But it does sucks though, man.
Yeah, I am bummed out to see this because I remember them from back in like 2014 when they worked together on screen. I just liked their chemistry together so much, and then
Oh
learning that they
yeah,
were, and then learning that they
yeah.
were a couple in real life, and like seeing their pictures together online, like seeing them together, they seem like happy. They seem like they had a good vibe together. I don't know what led to like them splitting up and deciding to split up, but regardless, it is disappointing to see this happen. And perhaps it was for the best. Perhaps maybe this is the best means for both of them, but it still does bum me out. I'm not gonna lie.
It does. Especially when you see couples that look like they look happy together and good together. At the end of the day, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors, so we will never know. That's with any relationship.
Yeah, like God forbid if we ever heard of Barack Obama and Michelle Obama splitting up. Yeah, that would
Oh
be a
yeah,
lot of
yeah, yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Yeah, it would
Oh,
be the weirdest shit.
oh my god. Oh my god. Ooh, you're right.
Yeah, it sucks. It's disappointing to hear that news, but maybe this is the best move for both of them, and I wish them both the best, in whatever happens for them in the future. And I hope they still do remain friends. That is very important.
Yes, yes.
I always like in relationships, even my own, like where you can end the relationship on as good a terms as possible if it does come to that point.
True. Now you got to remember, not a lot of relationships end like that, man. Usually it's bitter and and all that stuff, and then especially in this generation, man. And you have some relationships that are mutual and like, look, we just need to go our separate ways, but that respect level and that friendship will still be cool with each other. That's very rare when you see that happen. Like, I was very happy that The Rock and his first wife, Danny Garcia, are still friends.
Hell, they're still business partners.
I know, but still though, they're still cool with each other. I like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. When relationships end, sometimes it doesn't have to be a bad guy. It doesn't have to be like necessarily anybody's fault. Sometimes you two just grow apart, want different things, and just because that happens, that doesn't mean you have to hate the other person or be bitter towards the other person. Sometimes relationships just run their course.
True.
Yeah, a lot of girls I hear nowadays criticize that whole thing about being friends with your ex, how like somebody being friends with their ex is a bad sign, even if they're friends with them on social media. That part I found weird.
I haven't heard too much stuff about that. I really haven't been hearing enough of that. Maybe you're looking at something I'm not, but I haven't really been hearing a whole lot about that.
Yeah, I see posts like that all the time. I've even had some female friends tell me this themselves. Where like a major red flag in dating is somebody who's like still cool with their ex, where they still have a relationship with their ex, even if they're just friends with them online. It's still not good. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, yo, sometimes it just ends on good terms. Sometimes you just have like a civil conversation and you just both realize that, yo, it's just not working like that, but there's no reason for us to hate each other for it.
But what do they say though when you tell them that?
They still don't, feel like it's okay. They still don't feel like it's right. They have the mentality of, oh, if we're not together anymore, why should we even have any contact, period? Why should we even be linked by any way? I've even had girls I broke up with. That one girl I was dating when I first moved to Atlanta, when we ended up breaking up, within an hour, she blocked me. She blocked me on Facebook, blocked me on Instagram, you name it. I haven't heard from that girl ever since.
No.
Some people are like that. Some people, take breakups and split ups very hard and take it very personal. But it seems like in CJ Perry and Miro's case, they didn't take it personally to that degree, and I like that.
That's good.
I wonder if Bobby Lashley had anything to do with this.
Oh, you stop. Oh, Jesus. That storyline was so weird. Oh, God.
It's funny. They did two storylines like that with Miro and CJ Perry. They did that storyline, and then in 2015 they had the storyline where Rusev and Lana split up, and then Lana started managing Dolph Ziggler, and then Summer Rae started managing Rusev and started dressing like Lana. Yeah, it was a whole thing. They had like a mixed tag at SummerSlam, I think, that year. Yeah, it was a whole fucking shabazz.
Shabazz.
Then they dropped it, but then they dropped it when they revealed through TMZ that they were actually engaged in real life, and they both got in trouble for that, actually.
Oh, wow.
Because it fucked up the whole storyline. Yeah, so and then both on screen got punished for a while. Whether they were both losing or made to look foolish for a hot minute. Yeah, some petty ass shit, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Just happy that the douchebag who was probably behind a lot of that petty ass shit is no longer around. And in a statement last week, I think Ari Emanuel said that he's not coming back. He's not in the office. He's not coming back, period.
Oh no.
But what does seem to be coming back in our society, no matter how much we think, no matter how much some people don't think it exists anymore, is some good old fashioned racism. And one person who was the victim of this racism this past week was Bianca Belair. As the post for the new WWE 2K24 game was put up, with Bianca Belair being on the cover, some people under the comments section were very disrespectful and very racist with their comments about the cover. And one comment I actually saw that stood out to me was one that said, she doesn't deserve to be on the cover. They just need another black person on there, so that's why she's on it.
That's, excuse my language, but that's fucked up.
Damn right it is. But you know what? As fucked up as it is, it does not surprise me.
Just the society that we live in, man. I just, oh.
And I'm not gonna lie, I'll say this much. I've heard people say like racist things about Bianca Belair before, also Mercedes Mone, also Naomi, also Jade Cargill, any black wrestler you can think of. I've seen people say at least one or two racist things about them at one time or another. But the difference between those situations and this one is that this one like really got a lot of attention, and considering the fact that it was commented on a specific post, yeah, everybody saw it. And that led to a bunch of people within WWE coming to Bianca Belair's defense, talking about how great of a person she is, how great of a role model she is, how great of a superstar she is, and how much she's accomplished, and how people are just mad they're not her. Yeah, people from Rhea Ripley, Zelina Vega, Big E, Becky Lynch, the list went on and on. Yeah, people were really coming hard for Bianca, and I like that. I like the fact that all those people came to her defense and like really spoke up for her. I know she doesn't need them to speak up for her, but I'm glad that they all did it and came to the defense of their fellow wrestler, fellow colleague, and all that good stuff, and let these racist fucks have it the way they deserve to have it.
Well, I love the fact that they stood up for her. I mean, come on. If that would have been something would have happened to my employee or partner or whatever, I would have stood up for that person now. I know she didn't expect it, but that's something that it's like, you see stuff some messed up like that. Of course, somebody's gonna have your back.
It's just such an ignorant thing to say. Oh, they just need a black person on the cover. That's the only reason why she's on it. Shut the fuck up. And I've said this before. I'm just happy, like over these last few years, black wrestlers have been getting a lot more love and a lot more attention. They've been really doing well, I would say, ever since New Day really blew up, ever since New Day became the success that they did. I've really noticed like a shift as far as like how successful the black wrestlers have been in wrestling over the last 10 years.
Not just in WWE, but AEW. Look at Swerve Strickland. Look, I mean, oh my God, like you know how much I love Carmelo Hayes. Trick Williams.
Yeah, Trick Williams, Carmelo Hayes. We've had 3 black WWE champions in the last 5 years, and 2 of them being back to back. We had 2 black women main event WrestleMania for the very first time. And Bianca Belair had the longest title reign of any black wrestler in WWE, period. Not even The Rock had a WWE title reign as long as Bianca's title reign was.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bianca's been making history ever since she came to the main roster. She's undefeated at WrestleMania, longest reigning women's champion in WWE history, has put on classic match after classic match after classic match, designs her own fucking gear. And she's a great role model. She's a great role model for kids, also a great role model for the black community. Yeah, how the fuck you gonna diss Bianca Belair and say some dumb shit like that?
I know.
Yeah, I love me some Bianca Belair. Everybody loves Bianca Belair. You hear the reaction she gets?
Dude, it's off the wall. What goes without saying.
Yeah, she's done all this and accomplished all this, and she's only been on the main roster for like 3.5 years.
Yep.
If she were to retire tomorrow, her legacy is set. But for as many people who came to Bianca's defense about these racist comments by these asshole fans, she was not so quick to defend Bayley in her recent situation with Damage Control. As you saw last Friday on SmackDown, she was watching that interview with Bayley with Naomi, as Naomi was watching it, and she was like, why are you listening to Bayley for? Why do you care about Bayley? Ever since you've been gone, Bayley's been making my life a living hell. And she went on to say how like she doesn't feel sorry for Bayley and that Bayley's getting what she deserves. So yeah, I feel like they're really going somewhere with this, where like maybe Bayley might have to win over Bianca and gain her forgiveness. The same thing with the Jey Uso stuff on Raw, where like people weren't ready to forgive Jey Uso right away because of his whole association with the bloodline.
Right.
So it looks like they're doing this storyline with Bianca and Bailey. But I'm trying to think of what they're gonna do with WrestleMania. If they're gonna do maybe a 6-woman tag, or if they're gonna do maybe a tag title match with the Kabuki Warriors against Bianca and Jade, or maybe a 6-woman tag with all 6 of them, and also adding Naomi into it. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like what direction they might go in.
We'll see about that. So, have they been? They still touched on the whole Bailey storyline going on moving forward with her, though.
Yeah, she had an interview with Michael Cole talking about everything and talking about how it's not going to end well for those Damage Control girls and how she should have known the whole time that Dakota Kai was going to pull the 1992 Sid Justice on her. Yeah, I could have called that shit from a mile away.
Oh,
So yeah, we'll see what happens with this storyline with Damage Control, also Bailey and Io Sky. I am looking forward to that match still. I know it's kind of been getting overshadowed by the whole Rock and Cody stuff and all that, but that match I'm still looking forward to.
Same here. I want to see Bailey get her moment. So
Mercedes Mone recently sat down with the Kick Rocks Wrestling podcast, and she discussed her decision of leaving WWE 2 years ago. And this is what she had to say. Something inside of me told me I needed to do this and stand up for myself. It was a very hard decision because wrestling in WWE has been my whole life. If people don't know, it's been my whole life. It's the hardest decision I've ever had to make in my whole life. But it's also the most proudest. It's crazy because I would not be sitting here living the best version of my life and getting to be everything I've ever dreamt of. I get to be everything I dreamt of and more. And it makes me so excited because that moment changed my whole life for the better. I'm so thankful for that moment, so proud of myself. I'm so proud of Trinity. I'm so proud of just how strong we were. Because like you said, everybody wanted to talk about it. Everybody wanted to act like they were in the room. I just know that everybody acted like they were in the room or worked there or were backstage or knew what happened or what was said. But all I know is that I handled it like a CEO, like the boss that I am, with my head held high, and I can't say nothing but amazing things to WWE. I'm so thankful for the career they gave me, the fans they gave me, the life they gave me, the dreams they gave me. So many dreams I got to chase and live them all. I get to do so much more, and like I said, I have a lot of unfinished business in wrestling.
well, it seems to me, I mean, she really stood on her ground on why she left, and she stands behind it. I mean, she had all the reasonings to leave, so I don't blame her for it.
And like she said, and also like I'm gonna say, we still don't know for sure what led to them deciding to leave. We don't know what was said in that room. They haven't spoken on it, and they have the right not to speak on it. But I noticed that she did not bash WWE in any way, and I fucks with that. That's fine. WWE was a place where she became what she is today, and like without WWE, she would not have the life that she has right now, and I think she understands that.
No, no. I know she's bigger now, what she's been doing outside of that, especially, she was wrestling with New Japan Pro Wrestling. But yeah, I mean, she wouldn't be, have this opportunity if it wasn't for the WWE.
Yeah, and she also went on to say that she does think that she will end up back in WWE one day.
Right.
Yeah, and she got a lot of flack for that because of the fact that it's heavily rumored she's going to be debuting at AEW tomorrow night, and she's already talking about eventually going back to WWE. Yeah, even Jason Solomonster was saying how like it's bad timing of her to say something like that. But technically, she hasn't said that she's going to AEW. For all we know, she could maybe not debut tomorrow night, although more than likely she is. But yeah, technically, she never said she was going to be debuting with AEW. So in that sense, she had the right to say that.
Right.
Yeah, and a few months ago, she put up a story on her social media saying, in 2024, I will be wrestling for some wrestling company, but she did not say what wrestling company that would be.
Like I said, we got to wait and find out, see what will happen.
Yeah, but I would bet money that she's debuting on Dynamite tomorrow night. So watch Dynamite. I recommend to watch Dynamite. Even last week's Dynamite was a good-ass show. They got Will Ospreay now. They got Okada. The Swerve Strickland and Samoa Joe thing is heating up. Yeah, AEW is kind of like turning it around a little bit. They're really starting to kind of build some more momentum again. But we'll see what Mercedes Mone could potentially do for them. We'll see if she could really make a big difference in their business and also make a big difference in their women's division. But regardless, I will be watching Dynamite tomorrow night to check for it. It's kind of like the whole CM Punk situation a few years ago where like they were having the show in Chicago, but they did not announce that he was going to be there, but you could kind of tell he was going to show up, and lo and behold, he did. So it's kind of feeling like the same vibe with this.
Okay.
Yeah, and I watched the episode with Earthquake last week. It was very good, but very sad. Yeah, it was kind of a not typical Dark Side episode where, like, Earthquake wasn't really a drug addict or a fuck up or, like, a horrible person. He was, for all intents and purposes, a good guy. Everybody liked him for the most part, but he just got, like, sick randomly, and then within 2 years, he was dead.
Damn. What did he get sick from?
He had cancer. Yeah, he had cancer.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they get into like him being a sumo wrestler in Japan before he went to WWE, and then like when he came to WWE and had that feud with Hogan, that great feud with Hogan, and then he had that feud with Jake the Snake where he actually killed Damien.
Ooh.
Where he did the earthquake splash to Damien,
Yeah.
but it was actually pantyhose stuff with burger meat or some shit, and then actually Earthquake fed the remains of Damien to Vince McMahon and Bobby Heenan on Primetime Wrestling. He called it Quake Burgers. But it was actually Damien. And then once he told him about it, Vince McMahon like flipped out and like he flipped the burgers over and like walked away pissed off.
Damn.
And then obviously the tag team he had with Tugboat, aka Typhoon, the Natural Disasters. Yeah, that was a huge team, bro. That team was gigantic. You talk about like was running WCW when they had him under those different gimmicks like the Shark Attack and then Avalanche or whatever the fuck they called him at one point. Also, when he was in WWE again as Golga from the Oddities, he was doing that gimmick with the Cartman doll. You remember the Oddities, right?
Yeah.
The dude under the Golga mask was actually Earthquake. I don't know if you ever knew that.
What? I did not know that.
Yeah, he was. I could tell by the moves he was doing that was Earthquake. I could tell like by the power slam he would do. I'm like, oh shit, that's Earthquake. Earthquake does that exact same move. Yeah, Earthquake had the nicest power slam and elbow drop you would ever see. He was really crisp.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was very believable in that feud with Hogan. Like when he took Hogan out, that was like one of the first times you really saw Hogan get taken out and like be gone for like that amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was definitely a legend in this industry and very missed, gone way too soon. And yeah, rest in peace to John Tenta. All right, bro. Anything else you want to get into tonight, or is it a wrap?
It is a wrap for now, and wrestling is never a wrap because we got so much going on, as we always do. Is ongoing, just ongoing soap opera, as I say, and I can't wait for the coming weeks. We'll go deep into WrestleMania, and we'll just leave it from there.
It's funny that you say that because if I'm ever dating a girl and she ever like wanted to be like watch wrestling and like see what wrestling was about and she never watched it before, the one storyline I would show her is the Hogan, Macho Man, and Miss Elizabeth one.
Oh my God! It just, I mean, I remember. I think was it last week or was it 2 weeks ago? My girlfriend's.
You should watch. I was gonna say you should watch WrestleMania 5 with your girlfriend.
Oh Lord, no! Like she was asking me, like, what is it like about it that you two like to talk about? Like, what is it to you? And I just straight up told her that it's more than people getting in a ring beating each other up. It's more than that. There's a story. Like, why are these people in the ring? Why are they doing it? I told her straight up, it's legit a soap opera. There are stories. There's drama involved. There's a reasoning why these people are in the ring or doing what they're doing. Why are they doing it? Oh, because this person, I don't like this person, or or why? You know what I mean? Or I want to be the champion. Why do you want to be the champion? Just so much like what ifs and who and where involved, man, and that's what makes it special. So that's pretty much how I describe it to everybody.
Yeah, for me with wrestling, especially nowadays, it's all about the stories. The reason why I enjoy that Macho Man and Hulk Hogan feud from '89 was because of the story. The love triangle with Miss Elizabeth, I enjoyed that shit so thoroughly. And also the Bret and Owen feud going into WrestleMania 10. Also the Daniel Bryan and the Authority stuff.
Yeah.
and also the stuff with the bloodline over the last few years. It's all about the stories. No different than The Sopranos, no different than Game of Thrones, no different than any other show, sitcom, or even movie that you enjoy to watch. It's all about the story, and the story is what keeps
Yeah.
you invested.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, so I think that's a good way to leave it off for tonight. So until next time, for John Randall, this is Conscious Kurt with another edition of the Clash of Champions. We are on the road to WrestleMania, less than 1 month away, and April 6th and 7th cannot come soon enough. Also, my birthday weekend is right before, and I will be throwing a birthday party for the first time since 1997.
I saw that. I saw that post on your Facebook. How you're thinking about throwing a birthday party. I wonder what you're gonna do.
I'm just going to do a get together at my apartment. I'm going to play my Club Kurt playlist that I created on Spotify. That's really popping. You should check it out if you are on Spotify. And yeah, it's crazy. The last birthday party I had was the weekend after WrestleMania 13, the one with the Bret and Austin submission match. I had my birthday party that year at this place called Blockbuster Golfing Games. It's this place like that had miniature golf, also bumper boats, a playground, arcade games, all this other shit. That was the last time I had an official birthday party. It was 1997.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's gonna be popping,
Nice.
bro. I'm looking forward to these next few weeks. It's a good time to be alive. It's a good time to be a wrestling fan, and we hope to see you guys next time for another episode of the Clash of Champions. And remember, especially being a wrestling fan, because we get very negatively stereotyped very often, do not be an asshole in real life or social media, because that shit
It's for the birds.
is for the birds. Have a good one, guys.